So wow, we actually have some very big news today about Cyberpunk because guess what? CD Projekt RED just teased one of the most highly requested features that appears to be now coming to Cyberpunk 2077. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Plus, we're going to talk about that big expansion coming up in 2023. How big will it actually be? So we have some new leaks indicating the size of this expansion, but we're going to start out first of all with this highly requested feature that appears to be coming to Cyberpunk. With this post right here, Rin says this: I genuinely love Cyberpunk, but I personally cannot get back into it until it has a transmog system. I don't want to sacrifice stats for style, and I don't want to sacrifice style for stats because I end up looking goofy as hell. And a lot of the community also agrees with this, but guess who replied to this tweet? The official Cyberpunk Twitter account with eyeballs on the transmog situation. And we have another reply here from Paolo Sasco, and it looks like to me they are teasing a transmog system coming up here. And guess what else? The community seems to be talking about it and agree that overall that yes, this is a tease. We have this post here from I'm Cam17 who says, don't know if this has been posted yet, but possible transmog system coming. And yeah, I think that this is definitely a tease for a transmog system. We desperately need it to really fit the clothing that we really want to wear in this game, and armor and things like that, of course. Now, does this mean we would hopefully eventually get a third-person perspective down the road? I really hope that does happen with the expansion, but don't hold your breath about that one, because it would be cool to have the exact style that you want with the stats that you want, all that good stuff, but also have that third-person perspective on top of everything. That would be absolutely amazing. But what do we know about the transmog system according to leaks? Now, CD Projekt RED hasn't said anything officially beyond the eyeballs that we just saw there through those Twitter teases. We have this one right here. It says Cyberpunk has half a transmog system hidden in patch 1.5. Also, it stems from this post, this original source. It says hide your gear right here. This comes from DJ Korvik, and it's basically a mod that unlocks existing code within Cyberpunk 2077 that shows a transmog system, or half a transmog system here, that is actually working. As you can see right here, how you can hide your clothing and still retain the stats. That's kind of the idea behind the transmog system. But of course, this upcoming system would be more extensive than the mod. Now it says right here, patch 1.5 brought some kind of gear hiding system, which is disabled for now and internally called transmog. You can enable it with game enable transmog, console command for head and face slots, or using my hide your gear mod to extend it for all slots. Grab alternate version. So yeah, as you can see, it's existing code. They just have to basically flesh this out and make it a proper transmog system. I think I'm going to basically speculate here at this point that this transmog system would be coming with update 1.6. And what we do know officially about that one is that update 1.6 would be happening ahead of the expansion, which is going to be releasing in 2023. So I would expect update 1.6 to be launching sometime here, maybe late summer or sometime early fall, and perhaps that is when we would be seeing this transmog system added into the game. All right, so let's keep going, shall we? We're going to talk about that big expansion. So how big is it actually going to be? So according to leaks, we have this right here. It says Cyberpunk expansion details leak includes 7 core missions, access to locked areas. And yeah, so how many main missions are there in the core experience of Cyberpunk? This kind of gives you some idea, I think, of how big this expansion would be. So it says right here, Cyberpunk has a total of 33 main missions, plus an interlude and another similar half mission too. There are also 4 separate epilogues that you can get as your post-game outcomes too. So it depends on how big these 7 core missions are. And again, this is considered a leak. Take it with a grain of salt. It could be that we end up with even more than 7 missions, but I'm hoping that these missions are extra long compared to the main game. I'm crossing my fingers. But that's not all that appears to be coming with the expansion. Of course, it's not just going to be main missions. It's not going to be a linear experience. I really want to tap into the open world. So it says this: apparently the first Cyberpunk expansion will serve up 7 core missions, as well as various side content, including fixer quests, world stories and new world encounters. Speaking of the world, players can expect to explore some previously blocked off areas, such as the combat zone from Pacifica region and the sports dome. That sounds badass to me. I would love to check out the sports dome and see what's going on in there. That would be an absolute combat playground for sure. And I'm curious to see if they're going to have like a faction in there, the Voodoo Boys or someone take that over. We'll have to wait and find out what the story reasons are that we would be going into, of course, that dome. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit more spoiler stuff regarding characters that we would be seeing in the expansion. According to this leak, so you've been warned, it's not going to go into exact specifics. It's very generic, the stuff that you would probably see in some sort of promotional trailer, so don't panic here. But it says this right here. It says the mysterious Mr. Blue Eyes and other characters like Mr. Hands and Rosalind Myers are also featured. Interestingly, VGC says there's surprisingly little Johnny Silverhand dialogue in the expansion, with the character explicitly being silenced at various points, perhaps hinting CD Projekt RED couldn't get Keanu Reeves back to do much voice work. Now, the events of the expansion will take place concurrently with the game's main story, and thus will introduce some changes to the game's epilogue, including a possible new ending for this Arasaka path. That's interesting to me. It seems like they might want to try to make one of the endings canon officially through perhaps this expansion, and then that would lead them into developing, of course, Cyberpunk 2. So that has actually piqued my interest. Again, we'll see if this all pans out to be true or whatever, but it seems like also, considering that its potential, the potential of playing the story alongside V's story, I'm curious to see if we would actually interact with V. That'd be kind of weird, but also kind of cool as well. But it seems like we're going to be playing as a new character in this expansion from what I am seeing here. All right, so a lot of you guys are wondering, well, Robbie, are they still updating the game in the back end? What's going on there? So check this out right here according to the Steam database. The last update happened internally 7 days ago, so it's been a little bit of time. It feels like they're kind of taking their time getting this one right, and I think it's still perhaps a little ways off for patch 1.6 to be releasing. We'll have to hear about that officially, but right now we have to get through the Summer Game Fest and a lot of events that are going to really distract people, so I don't think CD Projekt RED wants people to be too distracted when they finally launch this thing. I don't know, perhaps at the end of summer, early fall. All right, so now it's time to get into your top comments about my latest videos. Remember, leave a comment down below. It can end up right here in a future video. But yeah, I wanted to talk about another little game that I'm super hyped for, and I don't know if you guys have missed my videos on this or have seen them, but it's Starfield. I cannot wait for Starfield and June 12th to see gameplay. I'm going to be covering that, by the way, but I did this video right here. If you missed it, check it out. It says private gameplay demo, first details, Avowed leak details as well. Is that going to be bigger than Skyrim? And if you haven't heard of Avowed, man, pay attention. June 12th apparently is going to be a very big day for Avowed, Starfield, and perhaps other games that are going to be showcased here. But anyway, let's see what you guys had to say about Starfield, because it looks like we're going to be getting to see the, I guess you would say, neon-drenched city from Starfield being showcased here. It's going to be kind of their cyberpunk city. So we have Ben, who says the following. So Starfield, April 2023, and Avowed this holiday. Again, that's a leak, by the way. Remember that. It says, hope to see a deep dive on those at the showcase. I also would love to see a deeper look at Redfall, Wolfenstein 3, and The Outer Worlds 2. Excited for the 12th and the 14th. Triple smiley face. Hell yes, I cannot wait for those days. And yeah, even The Outer Worlds 2 is going to be cool. But it seems like, my God, Microsoft is lining up the big RPG games here. It seems to be very endless for them. And then hopefully we also hear about Fable as well. Now, we have this one from Dave Sargent, who says, I sadly think that Microsoft will push Starfield in the exclusive community on the basis it might sell sales of Xbox. But sadly, sometimes they may need to look outside the ecosystem, as we are living through the biggest cost of living crisis. And as such, while I could afford the game, I cannot afford either a PC or another console to pay for. I see what you're saying. So I suspect it will be an amazing game, but will perhaps not sell as Microsoft wish, on the basis it has a whole closed market. And I think that's also an interesting discussion, because Microsoft is heavily invested into cloud gaming as well. It's an entire other endeavor for them, so that might solve those problems a little bit down the road. But I hear what you're saying for sure. But at least the cool thing is that Starfield will be an Xbox Game Pass title day one as well. So that is absolutely huge, and I think could in the long term save people some money, because right now I've been like looking at Xbox Game Pass, going through their catalog, and it's just getting more and more impressive as time goes on, and I've been just super impressed with it lately. Now we have this one from Immortal Rymus, who says, I loved the Outer Worlds. I hope the Outer Worlds 2 has more intelligent aliens like I hope Starfield does, so I'm really looking forward to playing them both as well as Avowed. I would have no problem with Avowed's open world being smaller. He's referencing Skyrim here, as each of us only have so much spare time to play so many games on so many platforms in our free time for some of us. Yes, yeah, so Avowed is apparently, according to leaks again, going to be smaller, a little bit smaller, as they said, than Skyrim, but it's going to have more dungeons and exploration opportunities than Skyrim ever had. So to me, I don't care that it would be a little bit smaller than Skyrim's world. I mean, if there's more detail in it, that's awesome. Like, that's what I actually prefer to hear, instead of like having an open world that is just endless and there's nothing to do, which of course was not Skyrim. I still think Skyrim is one of the best open worlds ever created. Then we have Johnny Prod, who says the following: I've been playing Skyrim again too, with the anniversary collectors content and mods on Xbox S, and man, I chose Xbox first place a long time ago because racing exclusives like Projekt Gotham Racing and Forza, but now I have more of my favorite genres to play exclusives like Starfield and Avowed. I'm hyped. After Fallout 4 and the Outer Worlds, I can be hyped, and man, we probably are going to be getting Forza, Motorsports 8, Fable News, Contraband, and a lot of things that are from my favorite genres, and the hype is rising. Yes, of course, I always warn guard, excuse me, your hype levels as much as possible, but yeah, there's so many reasons to be excited, though. I get where you're coming from, and it's cool that you mentioned Projekt Gotham Racing. I would love to see them reinvent that or re-release that or something. Man, those were amazing games. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming up here. June 12th, June 14th. Stay tuned, everyone. I have you guys covered on that one. But there's the latest happenings around Cyberpunk. And yes, check out the Starfield videos on the channel. I hope you guys enjoy it. But thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.